Sleep is key. I think we all know this, whether it's as adults ourselves or seeing it in our kids, how they act and how emotionally regulated they are when they haven't had enough sleep. We know this is true, but it is so important that it is worth hitting home here today. And that's what this video is about. I want to give some context to sleep, explain why it's so important, give you some tips, and make sure that your kids are at their best, make sure that you are getting that rest that you need. So like I said, we do not need to fight about whether or not sleep is a big deal. We just might not understand how important it is, how foundational it is, and then what it really takes to get good rest. Because it really is at the base of everything, right? If our body is not resting, our brains do not have the mental clarity and focus and sharpness that they need for either higher level cognition or just basic foundational emotional regulation. We're not going to be able to fight off immune system challenges. We're not going to be able to digest lunch and bring in food and nutrition as we should. It is at the base of so many of the challenges that we see. And so one of the first things that we're looking for in care is seeing that turn around, is seeing that starting to head in a good direction. And the reason that that is both so important itself and honestly such an important indicator of what's going on more deeply is viewed best through the lens of the central nervous system. So our central nervous system, or what you might call our autonomic or automatic functions, that autonomic system has two different modes. We have our sympathetic and our parasympathetic, or you might hear us talk about it as the gas pedal versus the brake pedal. In that gas pedal mode is your sympathetic fight or flight stressed state. That is what kicks into high gear when we are under periods of stress. We feel like we're running from a bear in the woods, so to speak. We have to live in survival mode. That stress system is not meant to stay on. It's meant to turn off. But when we get stuck in there is what creates problems, because then that brake pedal or that parasympathetic side, that is sleep, that is immune system function and digestion and our overall growth and development and wellness and cognition and all the things we need for ourselves and for our kids, that is taking place in the parasympathetic brake pedal side. So it is both a double whammy where, okay, sleep isn't happening. That means that we're not able to utilize those functions. Our body's not able to do that. But then it also is kind of a symptom in and of itself, right? If we're not able to sleep, it's probably saying that our body is not in a place of ease. It's not in a place of balance there. And so yes, all of these things that are here and other ones I'll mention are important, but our starting point is let's make sure that that internal operating system, make sure that your nervous system is not stuck in survival mode. Because sleep is probably the most obvious brake pedal function, right? You can see it in your kids. You can feel it in yourself, right? When you are feeling more anxious, do you lay down and you just zonk out and the world is gone? Or is your brain moving a million miles an hour? Through adjustments, we get to see that calm down. I actually was looking at some of our stats earlier. This is specifically one of the forms, the progress exam questionnaires that we'll send out to people as they're going through care. And there's obviously the most important goals that they had of the reason they were coming in. But then there's a section we ask, basically, what else have you noticed? I know you can't see it, but you know what's the top of the list there? Almost half of the people who are filling that out have experienced improvements in sleeping. Regardless of whether they're coming in for some other challenge, some other concern, that is one of the most frequent things we see improve because of how our nervous system gets hardwired for stress, then how it unwinds and how it improves with adjustments. Specifically this upper neck, it's so connected to those sleep areas because of the vagus nerve and that regulation aspect. So there is a huge place for sleep hygiene stuff, right? That's what's on our whiteboard topic this week. Having a bedtime routine, which means going to bed at a consistent time. No thanks to you, time zone change that's going on this week. Wanting that environment to be cool, to be dark, to be as peaceful and calm as possible. That might mean using a sound machine or something else to create that white noise environment. We want to absolutely be avoiding screens before bed, both for us, for our kids, for an hour, for 2 hours, for as long as possible, because that is not calming our brain. That is sending us into that hypersensitized and stimulated state. And then we want to be using supports like magnesium to get that stuff. We want to do that and so many other good sleep hygiene things, but really you're going to be spinning your wheels and not getting any traction if you're doing all that and missing that core operating system piece of the puzzle. So check out the article that's in the link in our bio. This is connected to the post here. It's going to dig more into sleep. It's going to dig more into those details. But if you're feeling like you're missing something, bring it up at your next appointment. Let's chat through it. Or if you're watching this and you're not a part of our Thrive family, please set up a visit to get scanned, to get checked out. We'll see how your nervous system's handling life. See if we can help get you sleeping better too.